Perhaps, as Mr. Barrington suggested earlier, they are simply and innocently responding to our posture. It is also possible that they've seen our homeland is about to absorb a catastrophic blow, and they are readying to take advantage of that. Or this is all part of a phased, coordinated assault with far worse to come.
When nuclear war is depicted in cinema, it makes for an interesting experience because of just how surreal it can feel. We're all aware that nuclear war is well within the realm of possibility. But it's almost as if we are incapable of fully reckoning with this possibility, and so I think we tend to treat it like sci-fi, as something that wouldn't happen in real life, rather than a possibly real scenario. Like watching Jurassic Park, for example. We see some pretty horrifying interactions between humans and dinosaurs, but we're comforted by the fact that at the end of the day, it's completely fictional. But as we know, of course, dinosaurs do not exist today, while nuclear weapons are very much real. And the prospect of them being used is so morbid and so awful that it borders on the absurd, which can make for great comedy if that's what the film is trying to do.
We wouldn't get our hair mussed, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops, depending on the breaks.
But when a filmmaker aims to depict nuclear war in a dramatic and serious sense, the challenge is to show it in a way that makes the audience fully reckon with a scale of destruction and death that is almost too huge to comprehend. So how exactly does A House of Dynamite do this differently? It's all to do with how it's structured. The movie shows the roughly 20-minute period from when a nuclear missile is detected heading towards the contiguous United States and ending just as it is about to hit Chicago. We see this same period of time from multiple different perspectives. Starting in the White House Situation Room, then at the US Strategic Command, then finally with the President, who's played by Idris Elba. We follow other perspectives as well, at an Air Force base in Alaska with young soldiers tracking the missile, and with the Secretary of Defense, played by Jared Harris, and with the pilots of B-2 bomber planes. This kind of structure occasionally pops up in movies. Most of the time, it's a device that allows for new information to be uncovered with each perspective, changing the audience's perception of characters and events. For example, in Weapons, the structure allows for tension and drama, so when we encounter a movie that's structured like this, we expect, either consciously or subconsciously, that each perspective will add new information about the same events to recontextualize them and allow the perspectives to contradict each other to dramatic effect.
You must have really handed him his lunch, because Walt was like a wounded puppy the rest of the night.
What? Richard said what? No, Jesus, we did not get into it.
Most of the discourse around this movie has focused on this structure, and I think that the mixed response to this movie is a demonstration of how attuned we are to expect this structure to fulfill the aims of a conventional narrative film, where story and plot are most important. But in this movie, the structure serves a different purpose. The structure does not exist to serve the plot, the story, or the characters, but instead serves to articulate the film's thesis, which is that our ability to bring destructive nuclear weapons into the world far outpaces our ability to control them. These 20-minute vignettes are structured in a very purposeful way. With each repetition of the roughly 20-minute period from when the missile is launched to when it is about to hit Chicago, we move closer and closer to the decision-making center of gravity. The impact of the structure is to illustrate, from every angle of high government, how fallible and difficult a response is to a nuclear first strike, and how ineffectual these institutions are at dealing with a massive logistical problem of this complexity. In this movie, nuclear war is depicted not as a morbid what-if scenario, but instead as a very real possibility. The events depicted in this movie could happen in real life, and the grandiosity of high government simply melts away over the course of the story, as we watch these characters slide down a very slippery nuclear slope while trying to avert a catastrophic nuclear strike on Chicago. Despite their officers, their uniforms and their titles, the characters have to contend with the sheer speed of a nuclear weapon, in which they only have 20 minutes to decide on the US response. What makes the response so challenging, impossible even, is that there's a simple, cruel and cold logic to it all. Once the missile is launched, there simply isn't enough time to coordinate an effective response. There's simply too many variables, too many moving parts, too many people spread across too many locations to make a decision in time. We move up the chain of command, finally ending up with the president as he tries to make a decision. Usually, when we see heads of state in movies and TV, they're presented as powerful and competent figures who know what they're doing. But this movie does not reassure us, and just like everyone else trying to respond to the nuclear strike, the president is massively uninformed.
Good, because my job is to make this decision. I wish it weren't. And your job is to tell me exactly what he agreed to. All right?
The system which is designed to inform him has simply failed to obtain enough information quickly enough for him to make a rational and sensible decision.
There's no way he can make an informed decision under these circumstances.
These are the circumstances. In little more than 7 minutes, we will lose the city of Chicago. I can't tell you why.
Despite not even knowing which country launched the missile and if there are more coming, the president has to choose from a book of retaliation options, any of which would cause the loss of untold numbers of lives.
I actually call them rare, medium, and well done. It's sick, I know.
Illustrates the point.
The response to the launch of the nuclear weapon is a gargantuan logistical effort. It's made up of so many complex moving parts, the outcomes of which are all uncertain. And at the end, it all ends up in the hands of one person to make a decision that will decide the fate of humanity. All of this develops a feeling of futility. This is the whole point of this seemingly undramatic narrative structure. It's to show in detail how the real danger of a nuclear weapon is not just their destructive power, but the house of dynamite that they have created, the house in which we all live. This system is designed to respond to a nuclear launch in as orderly a manner as possible. But how could it possibly be orderly, given the number of government organisations that have to collaborate in deciding the future of humanity in a mere 20-minute period? As we see, blind retaliation can become the option of choice.
What I do know is this. If we do not take steps to neutralize our enemies now, we will lose our window to do so. We can strike preemptively or risk 100 ICBMs launching our way, at which time this war will have already been lost.
A House of Dynamite is a statement on the lunacy of nuclear weapons and how our scientific ability to create these weapons exceeds our ability to control them. The message of the movie isn't that countries should improve their nuclear deterrence or build better systems to detect nuclear weapons. It's that, as a species, we're fighting a losing battle. Letting the nuclear genie out of the bottle has created a world where we cannot adequately control the power of this invention, where the decision of a single person leading a single nation can lead to grave consequences for all of humanity. The final message of the movie is a challenge to us all to keep this scenario fictional, to work towards a future without nuclear weapons, rather than living in a house of dynamite that could explode at any moment.